One of the things about having crazy, insane amounts of money is that people can do things with it. Like my aunt set up a trust for a church that isn't really supported by the number of members that it has. It's probably the nicest church building in Bloomington, which still has more money than it can responsibly spend. And so a lot of the other agencies around town, they'll show up and say, well, the money you gave us earlier in the year was stolen. Can we have some more? And they'll be like, well, where's the police report? And we're like, oh, well, the last mayor didn't want us to make one. So that kind of stuff. And I guess the fiscal year starts in February, something like that. Anyway, so Gramps told me about how there was a time when everybody met up at the church, and for a while it didn't really matter what your religion was. They would hire whatever preacher they could get, and they would talk about morality, and then everybody would go home, and they would discuss, different variations with their family as it applied. Some people would sit in the back and sleep, or, and wait until after church for the social or whatever. But everybody attended. And now they're being more and more exclusive. They want to know more and more about what you really believe. And they want to get more and more intrusive. And, it's kind of one of those things where it's kind of the history of America that people came here to be part of a society, and you could have your beliefs and people weren't getting too much in your business about it. And that is really, really broken down in various states. I mean, I was looking in 46 of 50 states have at least some kind of medical marijuana availability. And Indiana is one of the 4 that does not. And one of the biggest meth problems in the country. And I can understand, the idea that the pot shops are going to turn into money laundries, but so is the 7-Eleven, so is the farmer's market. And I understand that the legislation is heavily skewed towards sheltering these places as future money launderers if we can tackle the 7-Eleven and I shouldn't say 7-Eleven because that's a brand name, and the bodega and the in the farmer's market. But so are churches. Churches are also money laundries. And when they aren't being better than that, and that's one thing with these endowments that the endowed churches don't have to be. And the churches that are not endowed, because you got to make all that, you die and you lose a lot of rights. And if you can't explain where your money came from when you're trying to leave it to a church when you died, the government's just going to say, okay, well, rise up and explain this to me someday, and then I'll pass the money along.